Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and super intelligent shades of the colour sky blue pink, welcome to the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia, where today I shall be mostly wearing my official Meat Militia nightwear. As well, I don't think I need to get out of my pyjamas to pistol whip this ridiculous charlatan. You might remember little Vicky from yesterday when she came up with all sorts of rip snorters like, oh, meat doesn't contain vitamin C, fat causes glycation, and we can't possibly be carnivores, you see, for we don't have the sharp, pointy teeth required. 2.5 hours of, lambasting it was. A lot of people said I was a bit rough with her. Well, watch the first 10 minutes of the video and you'll see what happened and why that occurred. It was her fault entirely. It was absolutely deserved and indicated. And since she hasn't seen fit or had the self-awareness to take her channel down and withdraw entirely from public life because of the fact of her monumental incompetence that she displayed yesterday, let's deal with her latest offering, which, forewarning, her video is over an hour long, an hour and 3 minutes. So mine will be longer than that because I'll have to take some time to respond to her nonsense. So get comfortable or don't, whatever. Right, Vicky, tell us about it. Clearly she doesn't have much to say.
Where is my fatty liver?
Well, with a diet that you told us that you are consuming, which consists of 80% sugar, half of which is fructose, and only 5% fat and 5% protein, completely insufficient, by the way, love. The fatty liver will be incoming at some point, yes. Also, standing there and showing that there's not a lot of obvious adiposity externally says nothing about visceral adiposity or fatty liver. Nothing whatsoever. You stupid girl. You ridiculous charlatan. What is next? That was your response to everything yesterday, wasn't it?
Okay. Hey, everybody. These lives are really a lot easier for me to do than just making...
So yet again, she's going to come online and be stuffing her face constantly with sugar-based nonsense, dates in this case, it looks like. What does that tell you? That she can't do a video without stuffing her face. It's almost as if she's not getting the nutrition she needs. What do I know, though?
Other videos right now because...
A lot more than Victoria.
Doesn't require phone storage and...
Oh, this is offensive, isn't it? Absolutely offensive.
For some reason, I'm having trouble getting on my Zoom.
Or indeed getting your thoughts in order, getting some self-awareness together to the extent that you can understand how destitute of competence and understanding about human metabolism and nutrition you truly are, as shown in spades by you yesterday. Anyone that wants to watch that hasn't yet, that you've had your head under a rock and don't know what's been going on, have a look at yesterday's debate I had with this ridiculous woman. It's a tough watch, boys and girls. It really is a tough watch.
But this camera is better. So
maybe sort your kit out before you start.
I decided to come up here and chit-chat with y'all.
Yes, let's have some chit-chat, Victoria. Good.
Today I'm going to talk about the Randall cycle.
Oh, God. Well, this will be hilarious, won't it? This is coming from a woman who thinks fat causes glycation and that vitamin C is not contained in meat and that we're not carnivores because we don't have sharp, pointy teeth. Stuff.
So, and eat some dates.
Yeah, we can see what you're doing and it's offensive. It's offensive as fuck, frankly. It also points to your destitution of nutrient status. We don't need to see a container of dates. We know what dates are.
So a lot of these carnivore people...
Which ones, Vicky?
Are referencing the Randall cycle.
Yes, but only one of them is talking about it in a way that shows that they truly understand it, as far as I'm aware. Hello?
As evidence that
get your thoughts together, for goodness sake, before you open your ignorant mouth. And have someone cross-check what you're going to say before you say it. Someone who actually knows what they're talking about, Victoria. This is incredible.
Anyway, so a lot of the carnivore people are referencing the
You said that, remember? Just a few seconds ago.
Randall cycle as evidence that their protocol is the best, right?
Do you see how there's absolutely no information whatsoever in that statement and no way to pin any kind of argument to anything?
The Randall cycle basically is a flux between...
A flux? I presume you mean flux. I think that's what you're trying to say. No, it isn't. The Randall cycle is not a flux. No.
Glucose being the primary energy substrate, or fatty acids being the primary energy substrate. And
not strictly correct, in fact. No. The Randall cycle, ostensibly, to boil it down to its lowest common denominator, which I know is what's required for someone as stupid as you are, Victoria, it's about metabolic inertia. Inertia being the concept by which a thing will tend to continue doing what it is already doing until a force sufficient enough to cause it to do something different is applied. That's what the Randall cycle is. Okay? Basically.
There's always a flux based on...
Yes, but that doesn't mean the Randall cycle is a flux, because it still isn't. I mean, this is the ridiculous woman who yesterday wanted to argue that because of the rating of end glycation end products in the glycating agent itself being 0, that sugar doesn't glycate our tissues. And I think it's best covered by the lovely, lovely Shah on vegan deterioration on her channel today. Go and watch that video. She's laughing her tits off, and I was laughing along with her while I watched it. Hilarious.
On energy intake.
No, not energy intake, no. The intake of mass in various forms. I'm aware that mass is a form of energy as per E equals mc squared. However, they are distinct entities as that relates to human metabolism and the metabolism of any other creature as well, or indeed plants, precisely because plants and animals do not convert between energy and mass. It's irrelevant. What's next?
What is coming in? So,
yes, what is coming in is mass in one form or another. Good.
If you're not consuming sufficient glucose.
Sufficient glucose consumption for a human being is not 1 single gram ever. Still, that is sufficient. This is a woman who claims to have a master's degree in human nutrition who clearly has never heard of gluconeogenesis, which, by the way, will have been taught in the first half an hour of one's first undergraduate degree in nutrition. It is a thing. Gluconeogenesis. Perhaps, Victoria, you ought to go and look that up.
Fatty acid oxidation is going to be favored.
Well, fatty acid oxidation is going to occur when fatty acid is what is being supplied. Yes, absolutely. Of course it is.
And gluconeogenesis and ketogenesis are going to be the...
So you have heard of these two things, yeah?
The methods or the metabolic pathways that are going to be favored.
Well, hang on a minute. If the intake of glucose, as you put it, is insufficient, which of those pathways is going to predominate? Because you said ketogenesis and gluconeogenesis. Do they happen at once, Victoria? Both? And if so, to what proportion to one another? Perhaps you should look that up too.
And then
when you've finished looking up glycation and re-educating yourself on, well, not re-educating, in fact, educating yourself in the first instance as to that.
If glucose is sufficient, then
yes, which is still 0 grams of intake per day. Yeah.
Glucose oxidation is going to be favored.
Glucose oxidation is favored if mitochondria hitherto have already been oxidizing a lot of glucose because of a relatively vast influx of glucose at any given time. Yes.
So what I wanted to talk about yesterday with Bart.
What you wanted to do yesterday was, I guess what you wanted to do was show your vast knowledge of nutrition, metabolism, etc. What you actually managed to do instead was show that you are actually destitute of any comprehension of metabolic process, science, human nutrition requirements, common sense, or your place in the universe at large, my love. I'm told that your mother responded to you in your cope video after the debate discussion that you and I had yesterday, and she pointed out to you the problem is you made yourself look like a stupid blonde. And it's nothing to do with your hair color. It's because you are, in fact, monumentally stupid. Sorry. I'm projecting your IQ has to be in double digits. I will be stunned if your IQ is even 100. And you need to understand that you are in no position whatsoever to instruct anybody on anything. You need to pull your head in. You're other than intelligence, the other thing that you are clearly lacking is any self-awareness at all. Because I bet you think you didn't deserve what you got from me yesterday. Watch the video back again, love. Okay?
Is that...
God, this is incredible, isn't it, kids? Absolutely incredible. By which I mean entirely lacking in any credibility whatsoever. This is a ridiculous buffoon. If you didn't know otherwise, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is a comedy act. That this is someone sending up these idiots. But unfortunately, this is the actual tenure of these imbeciles.
The Randall cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Notice how she still hasn't said anything?
Is actually...
actually. It's actually... What is it actually, love?
Identified as a pathway. Randall cycle being that it favors fatty acid oxidation.
False. That is absolutely, fundamentally, totally false. So once again, Victoria is making up shit about something that she knows nothing about. No, that is not how the Randall cycle is identified, nor is what you've just said about it factually correct. It's incorrect.
And inhibits glucose utilization, okay?
No, it's not okay. It's not okay for you to come online and talk about stuff you do not understand or know anything about. No.
In the cells.
Which cells?
The glucose fatty acid cycle, which...
Yes, sometimes that's what it's referred to as. It's not a cycle, by the way. Badly named. I wonder if you'll even get to that.
Is another name for the Randall cycle. This is...
It's actually called the glycerol fatty acid cycle, by the way, love, not the glucose fatty acid cycle.
From PubMed. Provides and...
Oh, well, if it's from PubMed, it must be right. Go on.
Explanation for the pathophysiology of dysregulated fuel metabolism.
Well, do you understand? Well, I know you don't, so I'll help you out, Victoria. Do you see how that's an opinion that you've just given there? Not a statement of fact. That's somebody's interpretation. Bought and paid for, by the way.
Referred to as fatty acid syndrome.
By those with an opinion. A vacuous, ignorant opinion about something they do not understand.
Okay.
No, it's not okay.
So this is not something that you want to be in all.
Oh, hang on a minute. You don't want your Randall cycle active working the way it is supposed to? See, the Randall cycle, Victoria, is the result of at least 13,800 million years of evolution. The Randall cycle knows exactly what it's doing and why it's doing it. And unfortunately, you do not. Yes, you do want a Randall cycle, and yes, you do want it to work perfectly at all times. There are very good reasons it exists. It stops you from dying at a very, very early age of advanced glycation damage, which is a thing which you showed yesterday that you, until yesterday, had absolutely not the first clue about even what it was. You told us that glucose does not cause glycation. The cause of glycation, you said, was fat. Remember? If you don't remember, go and have a look at Shah's video on the Vegan Deterioration channel. She covered it this morning. Shout out to Shah. You rock. Come on my channel again soon. And you should show your face on your channel more, Shah. Shah is a very beautiful woman. By the way, I just thought I'd share that with you if you didn't know that.
Time. Inhibition of glucose utilization by fatty acids is a form of glucose intolerance.
No, it isn't. It's a form of self-protection that the cells absolutely ought to have in play. That's why they do. Here's the thing. Despite your lack of understanding of this prior to yesterday, it is in fact glucose that causes glycation damage to tissues. And if a cell is replete with all the substrate it requires to produce ATP in the form of fatty acids in the cell, it requires no glucose to do so. Ergo, the best thing for that cell to do would be to lock the doors from the inside to prevent the entry of glucose, which would then sit there in high concentrations because you've been pouring it down your ridiculous fucking neck and damage your cells. Okay? Simple as that. The exact requirement and indication for glucose intake in human beings is none. None at all. Still.
That resembles or may lead to insulin resistance.
Insulin resistance is a construct which you still don't understand. It's an idea put forward by the allopathic medicinal community as an explanation for the etiology of so-called diabetes, when in fact it is a symptom of it and not a pathology in and of itself. Neither is it the cause of the diabetes. It is a result of the diabetes. The diabetes being chronically elevated blood glucose. The cause of chronically elevated blood glucose, my love, is pouring glucose down your stupid fucking neck. Glucose that your cells neither want nor require and would be damaging were they allowed to pour in there according to their concentration gradient. Because the cells have sufficient substrate in the form of carbohydrates and fats already. Okay, what's next?
The impaired capacity of insulin to increase glucose uptake by muscle and adipose tissue, accompanied by increased lipolysis and increased hepatic glucose production. So,
yes, a totally indicated, sensible course of action to protect the cells from glycative damage. Good.
What that means,
I've just told you what it means, but you're going to get it wrong.
Is that by not consuming sufficient carbohydrate,
which is still not 1 single gram ever,
and your body favoring fatty acid oxidation,
which it should do, because that's the biological design, for at least the last 5 million years.
For energy production?
No, ATP. ATP is a form of mass, a specific form of mass. It has nothing to do with energy directly. Energy being a construct, remember? Energy is a thing that we have to invoke to rationalize, pseudo-explain, or make emotional sense of that which is ineffable, that which is metaphysical, i.e. the objective reality in which we find ourselves. Well, some of us, Victoria, some of us are engaged in objective reality.
That you become insulin resistant.
Nope. False. Your Randall cycle is activated when it's appropriate for that to be occurring. Still, what's inappropriate is the pouring of contraindicated carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck. Still.
So you see this when somebody's fasting, you see this when somebody's doing a keto diet, you see this when somebody's doing a carnivore diet. Whenever carbohydrate intake is low, regardless of what you're doing, okay? You also...
No, it's not regardless of what you're doing at all, in fact, Victoria. That's another completely false statement. What you are doing absolutely has a vast impact over the activation level of the Randall cycle, which, by the way, is a set of sliders and not a switch. Okay?
Also see this in diabetes.
Yes. That's right. Correctly so. The cure for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, stop pouring carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck. Still.
Where there's insulin resistance.
No. Still a construct.
Present.
Nope. Still a construct. There are no companies selling an insulin resistance meter which measures this physiological response called insulin resistance. It's an idea, it's a construct, it's a model, it's falsely put forward as a pathology and an aberrant behavior of the metabolism. You ridiculous, arrogant tosspots. No, it isn't.
So the cell can't get the sugar that it needs. So
it doesn't need any sugar. That's why it's not allowing any sugar in, you stupid girl. Still.
Running gluconeogenesis and ketogenesis.
It runs gluconeogenesis. That's the thing that proves it does not need any sugar from exogenous sources. No, it doesn't make any sense at all, Victoria. It's ignorant, it's pustulous, excremental garbage. It shows a fundamental destitution of comprehension of science, metabolism, nutritional requirements, and objective reality. Still. Get it together. Seriously.
Let me know if you have any questions on that.
Don't ask Victoria any questions, for God's sake. Anyone that has more than 3 functioning brain cells is now fully aware of your destitution of comprehension and the fact that in no way should they be asking you any questions at all.
But it basically comes down to Vegetable Police made a really good video.
Oh, right. So what it basically comes down to about Randall cycle, a known metabolic part of our functioning, which is well understood by, well, very few scientists. I can think of a couple. But the absolute authority on that is a comedian called Vegetable Police who runs a couple of YouTube channels, the first of which is about photography, something that he's an expert in, and video production, that kind of stuff, and another comedy channel about his flip-flop, jippity-jippity, I'm a carnivore, now I'm a vegan, now I'm an omnivore, now I'm a carnivore again, now I'm a vegan again, ha ha ha, isn't it funny? Absolutely. Casey is the authority here, and not someone like myself who has several decades of experience at the coalface of producing nutrition research. Nutrition. We'll get to that maybe. Absolutely. Let's all defer to Casey. For fuck's sake, Victoria, could you possibly make yourself less credible?
And he was talking about how you have to choose your fuel source.
Well, that is correct. In the same way that if you have a vehicle that runs on 91 octane fuel, that's what you should feed it. So Casey is correct about that. Yes.
It's either going to be fats or carbs.
See, that's where it's wrong, because the car is designed for 91 and not diesel. So you can't run that car on either 91 or diesel and expect that the life and working function of that vehicle will continue, because it won't. The same is true of the human body.
Okay.
It won't break down as quickly as a vehicle will that's designed to run on fuel that's 91 octane gas, and you throw diesel at it, it'll break down immediately, that vehicle. The human body will also start to break down immediately if you feed it the wrong fuel, but it will take a lot longer than a car to break down. Watch this space. See what happens to Victoria's health over the next, or even 5 or 10 years. That will be very interesting. If she continues to have the lack of self-awareness that she should have, because if she was at all self-aware, she would realize how stupid she made herself look yesterday, and she would take her channel down and withdraw from public life permanently in embarrassment. That's what you should do, Victoria.
You can't do both, because both is what creates the metabolic.
There are those ducks again. Her Majesty Pym, Queen of Pirates, first of her name, mother of puppies, queen of all the ducks, has let the ducks out. Who let the ducks out? Woof, 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 quack, quack. No singing. Right, what's next?
Metabolic diseases, right? Cancer, heart disease, diabetes. Why?
Yes, all of those have at their etiology, at their root cause, all of those have chronic systemic inflammation as one of the very most important factors. Several of those disease processes require entirely that there be an intake, an overplus intake, a toxic overburden of glucose being poured into that system. Still.
Because you have enhanced oxidative stress due to glycation.
Rubbish. Absolute nonsense. False.
So that's what Bart was talking about yesterday.
No, I wasn't. You were talking about that, or attempting to, and you got it wrong.
But what Bart doesn't understand.
Oh, fuck. Woohoo! Go on, love. What don't I understand?
Is that by taking the sugar out of the diet, you lower insulin needs because there's no sugar around. So
No, there's not no sugar around if you take the sugar out of your diet. That's false. Completely false.
Insulin doesn't have to do anything, but you're still glycating the system because your body has to produce sugar, right? So the sugar can still glycate with.
Glycation occurs, Victoria, when the concentration of glucose is higher than that which is required metabolically. Gluconeogenesis, ostensibly, for the vast majority of time, is a needs-dependent process. The amount of glucose required is the amount that is produced. The homeostatic level of glucose in the blood is set to the appropriate level for the individual at the time. Not a level higher than that, which would cause glycation, which is exactly what you do by pouring glucose or things that break down to glucose down your stupid, ignorant, arrogant fucking neck. Still, what Kate doesn't understand. Fuck me, are we serious?
Amino acids.
She is, that's the problem. She really thinks the holes in understanding lie with me.
Acids, nucleic acids, and fatty acids to damage the system, which is why a carnivore diet long term is going to produce heart disease?
No. Number one, the carnivore diet does not produce heart disease. And two, heart disease is not due to glycation. Glycation can be involved in heart disease if a person is suffering from glycation. Glycation being the damage caused, once again, Victoria, by an overplus of glucose. Still.
By this increased oxidative stress.
Define oxidative stress, Victoria. Measured how, according to whom, on the basis of what, using what technology. You're just using terms that you've heard somewhere, pretending like you have any understanding of them. Like you did yesterday, remember, when you said glycation is not caused by glucose. It's caused by fat, you said. Remember that? We do.
That is going to lead to LDL oxidation.
It's going to lead to LDL.
Which
No. Glycation. Now what you've just said there, Victoria, is that glycation is going to lead to LDL oxidation. The clue is in the words. Okay? Glycation is the addition of unnecessary toxic overburden of glucose to the tissues, lipids, proteins, etc. Oxidation is the removal of electrons from things via redox reactions. Okay? Not the same thing. But absolutely, everybody ask Victoria all about nutrition and pay her money to tell you to pour sugar down your stupid fucking neck. It's your funeral.
I started talking about in the video yesterday too. That will create these arterial plaques, okay?
So, no, Victoria, you have absolutely no understanding whatever of the etiology, the underpinning cause of atherosclerotic lesions, the plaques. You couldn't even tell us. Remember, I asked you yesterday, where do plaques develop? You couldn't even answer that. Now you want to pass yourself off as some kind of expert on the development of atherosclerosis. You couldn't even tell me where they occur, let alone get to a point where we could start talking about the histology of those tissues that are suffering from lesions, because that would be eye-opening, wouldn't it?
And atherosclerosis.
It's atherosclerosis, not athero, for God's sake.
I try to focus on bigger concepts, and I noticed yesterday.
You try to focus on anything at all, Victoria, and it slips through your fingers every single fucking time. Because you are a fucking airhead. An ignorant, arrogant airhead who seriously, love, needs to shut the fuck up and get a grip on yourself. This is fucking ridiculous.
When talking to Bart, that I had written out 6 different topics that I wanted to discuss.
Right. How did that go for you?
Now, when it comes to a topic, that means that it's not just like one specific thing, right? Ketogenesis, for instance. It becomes something broader, like why is ketogenesis even stimulated in the first place? Due to the lack of glucose in the system that slows down the TCA cycle.
No, it doesn't.
Because gluconeogenesis can't...
Not a single thing that comes out of this ridiculous woman's mouth is correct, scientifically valid, or supportable with anything like what even a half-witted person would consider to be remotely decent inference.
Create glucose at the rate it needs to maintain the TCA cycle's rate of...
Well, the rate at which the human body creates glucose is entirely appropriate for the needs of that person at that time. There is sometimes a shortfall which is dealt with via the production of ketones, in fact, for which there is a vast supply and tap in terms of the glycerol backbones of the free fatty acids. At no time is the human body short on glucose, and other than folks who are suffering, for example, uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, which is usually when they go hypo because of taking an insulin over what was required in terms of the food that was intaken, because maybe the food was forgotten, but the insulin wasn't. The important thing was the food, not the insulin. Priorities all asked about face there, weren't they? Just incredible.
Glucose oxidation into ATP. So
no, glucose is not oxidized into ATP. False. You don't even understand the basic biochemistry. No. ATP is made from ADP plus PI. Oxidation of fats or glucose or deaminated amino acids or alcohol all lead to a Gibbs-free energy encapsulation in the potential energy of ATP once it's generated in that way. Okay?
So the rate of metabolism slows down to
No, it doesn't. In fact.
Compensate for that.
No, it doesn't, in fact. Not at all.
That has to do with oxaloacetate and the fact that it can't be regenerated at the rate that it needs in order to take care of all this acetyl-CoA that's accumulating. So it gets back.
Oh, all this acetyl coenzyme A that's accumulating? What do you think the first intermediary of the TCA cycle is, Victoria? I'll give you a hint. It's acetyl coenzyme A, you stupid bitch. Fuck me.
Backfed into ketogenesis in the absence of glucose. Okay. When glucose is sufficient, though,
which is still not 1 single gram ever in terms of intake,
fat is able to be burned in the flame of carbohydrate.
Nonsense. Complete fucking nonsense. Number one, you don't burn fat. There is no flame. And carbohydrate is not required to oxidize fat. In fact, carbohydrate actively discourages the oxidation of fat. That is what the Randall cycle does.
All right.
Well, no, it's not all right, Victoria. It is not all right at all for you to come online and make these ridiculous fucking videos. You are completely out of your depth, out of your lane, and you have absolutely no business being here. Stop it.
When we have sufficient glucose,
which is still none,
we are always regenerating oxaloacetate. We can keep the TCA cycle rate high. So that translates to
the rate of operation of my TCA cycle is always exactly what is required by my body at all times. Were it not, I would be dead. I am not, ergo what you are saying is false. What's next?
The high metabolism, high energy.
Who's to say running your metabolism faster is better? It isn't.
Generation.
That's what causes cell division to occur more rapidly. Ergo telomeres to shorten more rapidly. Ergo one's lifespan to be reduced, it would seem. Okay?
Right.
No, wrong. Wrong, Victoria. Everything you say is wrong. Everything.
More energy. You feel it when you're eating the sugar.
More energy when you're eating sugar. So, energy is still a construct. How you feel when you eat sugar is largely down to the fact that it causes dopaminergic actions. Basically, you're a junkie, Victoria. You are a ridiculous mindless, self-absorbed, ignorant junkie. Sorry about that. Just the facts.
That your body is just working better?
No, it isn't. In fact, not working better at all. I've just explained why not. Perhaps you might go and look that up too. Like what you did when you frantically went off and started Googling glycation when I pulled your pants down and spanked your little body publicly for you yesterday because you didn't understand what it even was or what caused it or how that occurred. And yet you came online and professed to know more about it than someone who, by the way, has the title Professor. Again, with the self-awareness or lack thereof, perhaps. Right, what's next?
You get fitter, faster, stronger.
No, you don't get better, faster, or stronger eating carbohydrates long-term. No, you don't. False.
The other thing that people don't understand is that insulin drives protein synthesis.
Yes, we do understand that.
Insulin is a good thing. Insulin.
Yes, absolutely. In the right amount, at the right time, for the right period of time. Yes.
Is an anabolic hormone.
Yes.
Meaning that it's a building hormone, but we only want to use it efficiently, right?
Yes, correctly. In the right amount at the right time, under the right stimulus. Yes. Sorry, I take it back. You have said something correct in your life. There it is. Incredible. But you're about to fuck it up by saying something wrong immediately afterwards, aren't you? Place your bets now, kids. How long will it be until I have to press pause again and go, there you go?
So insulin isn't a bad thing. And that's what these carnivore people don't understand is that.
There you go. These carnivore people, which ones, Victoria? I'm a carnivore people, and I do understand that insulin is not a bad thing. So false again. Straw man. Ridiculous straw man. Pathetic, desperate cope from an imbecile. A very low IQ imbecile.
That if you have blood sugar issues,
I don't.
It's not insulin's fault. It's
No, it isn't. You're right. Again, incredible. If you have blood sugar issues, the problem is what you are eating. Unless you are a type 1 diabetic, in which case it's probably still what you're eating.
your fault for eating too much fat.
Wrong. False. Nonsense. Rubbish. Fucking pustulous, excremental garbage without any support whatsoever. In fact.
And not eating enough carbs.
Wrong. Completely fucking wrong.
Okay.
No, it's not okay. It's completely false. It's absolute, ridiculous, fucking nonsense. What's next?
Insulin wants to do its job. It wants to come in.
Insulin doesn't want anything. It has no mind. It has no consciousness. It's a chemical. It's a hormone.
You eat your dates.
No, I don't eat dates. No.
Eat your carbs.
No, I don't eat carbs very much at all.
I'm going to get another date right now.
Because you better keep the blood sugar up, love. Otherwise, you'll fucking fall on the floor.
I'll get to questions in just a minute, too.
Questions? Yeah, let's get to questions. That'll be hilarious.
Eat your carbs.
No, don't eat your carbs. Bad idea.
Your glucose in your blood goes up.
Yes, that's the problem. You don't want that happening because you see blood glucose going up will cause glycation to start occurring. Okay?
And that signals your pancreas to release insulin because...
Correct. Because insulin's role, among others, it actually has many roles, but one of its roles is in facilitation of getting glucose from the bloodstream into the cells. If the cells require any, if they don't, the Randall cycle prevents this from occurring, remember?
Because your blood glucose wants to stay at a very specific concentration.
Correct. And that's why you shouldn't pour any down your stupid fucking neck, you ignorant cunt.
Which maintains homeostasis. So,
ooh, another big word that you don't understand. Because if you understood homeostasis, you'd understand why you shouldn't pour carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck, wouldn't you?
Every single metabolic function in your body is designed to maintain homeostasis.
Wow, she's saying a lot of things that are correct today. It's incredible. Completely out of context and completely without any evidence that she actually understands any of it at all. Vacuous.
Via your blood sugar staying within range, okay? This allows for sugar to always be available for your cells to use to generate energy. Basically,
no, to generate ATP. Remember, ATP is not energy. ATP is a physical substance made of chemicals. Okay? The human body runs on potential energy, which is a construct. It runs on chemical reactions, which rely entirely on mass. Okay?
so you don't have blood sugar, you die. Okay?
Yes, if you don't have blood sugar, you die. Correct. That's why gluconeogenesis exists.
Zero, you're dead. When it's low, you're having problems.
Yeah, and when it's high, you're also having problems, aren't you, Victoria?
Serious problems. Anyway,
Yeah, serious problems. You've bitten off more than you can chew with me, love. You've made yourself a very, very serious problem, haven't you? The solution is to apologize to your audience, then shut down your channel permanently and stay out of the public light permanently, you ignorant cunt.
anyways,
You dangerous charlatan, you ridiculous fucking crackpot. Shut the fuck up. Seriously.
so insulin comes in and it does its job. It just opens the door to the cell.
No, it does its job if it's allowed to do so. In the case where it doing its job would be counterproductive to the health of the person, that is disallowed. Quite rightly so. Thank you, Mr. Randall.
Cells, and it's like,
Professor Randall. Sir Professor Randall, in fact.
hey, here you go. The glucose can come in.
The late Sir Professor Randall.
The problem is when the blood sugar is elevated, right?
Yes, and what causes that again, Victoria? Oh, yes, eating carbohydrates that the body does not require still.
Right? And insulin can't get that sugar into the cells.
Why not, Victoria? Why can't that happen? I've explained why. You've shown no evidence that you understand why at all.
Because of why? Well, there's either been starvation present.
So how would starvation prevent a person from absorbing from their blood the very thing that would solve that fucking problem? You stupid cunt. Seriously, how? No? Okay, what's next?
A high-fat diet.
High-fat diet. Well, why would that block sugar out other than the reasons I've just explained in the last however long we've been recording? Why is that, Victoria?
Well, those predominantly, okay. So the cell is sensing some glucose starvation, it kicks on gluconeogenesis, right? And so in the case of a diabetic, this becomes very problematic because you've got high blood sugar, high insulin, your cells aren't getting sugar.
So I'm presuming you're talking about a type 2 diabetic, and a type 2 diabetic is only going to have elevated blood glucose, Victoria, if they pour things down their stupid fucking necks that break down to glucose and get added rapidly to the blood.
So they're saying, hey, let's make sugar, right? So your liver starts making sugar via gluconeogenesis.
So you do understand that gluconeogenesis is a thing. How do you not understand that that completely erodes your entire ridiculous fucking posit around what the appropriate diet for a human being is? How?
From usually protein to start.
No, false. You said that yesterday. It was wrong yesterday, and it's still wrong today. The primary source for gluconeogenesis, if there's any present, is glycerol, which is the backbone of free fatty acids, Victoria, not protein. Why would the human body break down any amount of its hard-fought, hard-earned tissues, proteins, muscles, etc., if there is any fat present at all that can be used for that purpose. Are you seriously suggesting that after 13,800 million years of evolution, at least, the human body is that fucking inane? Wow, that's really, if nothing else, that's all we need to know about you, you stupid, ignorant girl.
Until the situation becomes more drawn out, then you can run into like ketoacidosis, metabolic.
Oh my God, really? Another topic that you know absolutely nothing about.
Acidosis from ketone generation while your blood sugar is super high. So this is what can really damage the system. So what is the solution?
So the solution, if you're a type 2 diabetic, stop pouring toxic, contraindicated, unnecessary carbohydrates and everything that breaks down to those directly down your stupid fucking neck. Stop it immediately. Problem solved. What's next?
Solution. The carnivore people say.
Which carnivore people?
Take the fat out of the diet.
No, they don't say that.
Or no, I'm sorry. That's what I say.
Well, that's why we don't listen to you, Victoria. Because it's absolutely fucking clear that you have no idea what you're talking about, you silly little bitch.
They say take the sugar out of the diet so that you can run this Randall cycle and just...
No. Where in the purple fuck did you get that from? Wow. It is so clear that you're just grasping at straws and you have absolutely no understanding whatever of anything you're talking about at all. It's incredible. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, boys and girls.
Just have fatty acids running the show, right? The problem with that is that too much lipid oxidation drives lipid peroxidation.
Nonsense. No such thing as true. False.
Okay.
And no, it's not okay for you to come online and make a demonstrably, irrefutably false statement as if it was factual. It is false. That is not correct.
This is the generation of free radicals from lipid oxidation.
Nonsense.
This is what creates the oxidative stress.
Nonsense. You mentioned it yourself earlier, you silly cunt. It's called homeostasis. The body has perfectly adequate resources to deal with any free radicals generated in the mitochondria during the oxidation of fatty acids. It also has a suite of antioxidants that it produces as well. Okay? Perhaps you should look that up when you've finished looking up whether or not meat contains vitamin C, whether glycation is the addition of sugar to body tissues and not fat, and whether or not it's possible that a carnivore may be lacking sharp, pointy teeth, such as the hagfish, for example. There's just one. Okay? I wonder if I'm going to get through this. I'm 10 minutes and 45 seconds into a video that goes for an hour.
That inevitably damages the system.
Rubbish. Absolute nonsense. The inevitable damage to a system by a diet is produced by people who eat an inappropriate diet for a human being, that being one which is low in fat and protein, like yours, and high in sugars, like yours, Victoria. Your body is the one in peril. Your body is the one that will fail you. And frankly, if you're feeding your children the same way, I would suggest social services need to come and visit you, because that is unacceptable. We're clear. I hope we're clear. Somebody please ring social services.
So they're blaming glycation on...
There we go.
Everything, that being the main...
Oh, we're blaming glycation on everything. No, we're not, Victoria. We're blaming glycation on, sugar, specifically. Mainly, the two sugars that people intake that do, in fact, demonstrably cause glycation, false aldino, are glucose and fructose. All sugars do it, but they're the two that humans intake mostly. Glucose, terrible for glycation. Fructose, 7 to 11 times worse, it seems, actually. Okay, so one of us has a body that's in huge peril of breakdown, disease, failure, Victoria, and one of us who understands evolution, our genetic gift, our biological systems, and our nutritional requirements doesn't have such peril. Okay?
Main source of disease, right?
No, wrong.
But the main issue, and the funny thing about glycation, because Bart was...
See how she can't even hold a thought even long enough to finish the sentence that she's speaking? It's incredible, isn't it?
acting like I didn't know what glycation was.
Well, you didn't. That's demonstrable. Anyone that watches that video will know absolutely that you did not understand glycation at all right up till yesterday. You did not know what it was. You did not know how it occurs, and you did not know the agent that's causal. That's pretty damning. Those are the facts, whether you want to accept those facts or not, today, in the light of a new day, because they're still the facts. That's still what happened.
Glycation involves sugar.
Yes.
Bonding to amino acids, nucleic
Yes.
acids, fatty acids.
Yes, but yesterday you said that's not the case. Yesterday you said fat causes glycation, and I asked you what glycation was, and you didn't know. Now you know because you've Googled it.
But is sugar the problem?
Yes. The toxic agent is the problem. In this case, the toxic result is the addition of that sugar to structures that ought not to have it there. Yes, it is the problem.
Because our blood always contains sugar.
Yes, at the right fucking concentration. Still, unless you tip that balance out of whack by pouring extra down your stupid fucking neck, you silly cunt. Yes.
Whether we're eating it or not. In fact, if you're not eating anything.
Now you're suggesting that gluconeogenesis continues if you do pour glucose down your neck? Wow.
For an extended period of time, your body is turning your muscle tissue.
Wrong. Fact. Still.
Into sugar.
That's a guinea fowl squeaking away in the background. I wonder what she's trying to tell us. Sorry. He's trying to tell us. We've only got male guinea fowl here. Yes, that's right. Guinea fowl, just like people, have two genders. These ones are male because they have an X and a Y chromosome. Anyway, that's for another day. Go on though, Victoria. Tell us about...
Until you die. And then, you run out, basically, and everything starts getting eaten up, like your heart. Most anorexics die from.
So literally, seriously, this woman is sitting there suggesting that gluconeogenesis is primarily fueled by the breakdown of our own bodies. No, it isn't. Still.
Heart failure. They also end up with high cholesterol.
So?
And I believe that is an effort of the body to try to compensate for the lack of energy.
We are not lacking in the physical substrate required to power our metabolisms, Victoria, we carnivores. We have sufficient energetic so-called substrates, reactive substrates, free fatty acids, to power our metabolism. Cholesterol has nothing to do with our energetic status. Still.
Available. So it starts turning whatever it can into triglyceride.
So now you're saying that cholesterol turns anything it can into triglyceride. Shah, vegan deterioration. Would you like to have a go at that one? Or anybody else with more than 3 minutes of exposure to actual biology, human metabolism, metabolic process in general, or common sense. For those that have none, including Victoria, no, cholesterol does not turn anything into anything else. No, it doesn't.
And fat. So that gets deposited too. And then somebody said that.
So again, an inability to even finish a sentence.
What was it?
Oh, fuck. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. This really isn't funny.
That vessel damage.
Mm-hmm. Which vessels, Victoria? And what kind of damage are you referring to before you even go there?
That plaque formation is like trying to protect the vessels.
No. Plaque formation is a consequence of damage to the vessels. All right? Fuck's sake.
From the damage that they've accrued, right? So it's like a scab.
No, that's a poor analogy. Really poor.
I don't know about that because when you clear the blockage, like when a stent is put in.
A stent doesn't clear the blockage, you silly girl. It expands the lesioned area, pushing the existing clot out of the way, allowing blood to flow through the lumen without solving the problem or the underlying cause of the problem at all. In fact,
that opens up the vessel. I guess you're not clearing out the plaque completely, and then
at all.
In bypass surgery, you're bypassing the damaged vessels. So I don't know.
What is your point? For fuck's sake. Airhead.
I don't know enough about cardiology.
Or fucking anything to be speaking publicly to people about it. What you know is dick about fuck. And it's time you fucking understood that and shut your stupid fucking mouth and your stupid fucking channel. Goodness sake.
In fact, the reason why I've seen stents put in and I've seen open heart surgery is because I was interested in going into that field of medicine.
Jesus Christ, can you imagine this fucking airhead working in medicine?
When I was considering being a physician assistant. Anyways, I can already hear my little buddy waking up. What I'm trying to say is that taking the sugar out of the diet doesn't fix the problem, though.
Yes, it does, still. The problem is excess glucose in the blood. The solution is stop fucking pouring it in there, still.
The benefits that the carnivore people are claiming.
Which carnivore people and what benefits?
Come from symptom suppression.
Oh, for fuck's sake, are you serious? Are you seriously trying to sell that bill of goods? Go on.
Cortisol is a very powerful steroid hormone.
Careful.
Right, that our body releases when it needs to eat, basically.
And at other times too. Cortisol is quite diverse, in fact.
To drive energy production.
No, nothing to do with energy still.
Right.
No, wrong. Still wrong. Completely fucking wrong.
So this happens with exercise when we need more energy to be created in our cells.
No, we don't. We need more ATP to be available for turnover. not energy. Still.
This happens when we need to eat. Cortisol basically kicks up to help us go find food. And I honestly think that...
You honestly don't think. You don't have the mental capacity. You are a stupid, ignorant turd who should shut the fuck up. Seriously.
We are primitive enough that...
Did I not say to you, quite politely, I thought, after we went offline yesterday, that what you seriously need to do is go and have a really good think about yourself, watch the video back that you were just involved in where you got your ass absolutely handed to you by someone who knows what they're talking about, and you got a lesson in basic respect and manners as well, and what happens when you fail to give that. And your total lack of self-awareness has led you not to do that, but rather to double down on your ridiculous, pustulous, excremental fucking garbage, come online and make a fool of yourself again, multiple times since then, and double down as if none of that actually happened. I hope your mum's proud. I suspect she's not.
The reason why cortisol increases...
Leave your fucking hair alone! Fuck's sake!
...during exercise is because our body thinks that we are...
Your body does not think.
...are making this effort.
It reacts to the environment in which it is placed in order to maintain its homeostasis. Victoria.
To either survive the situation, right? Or to find food. So, anyways, I'm going to get to the questions now. Insulin.
So what have you said so far, other than a bunch of things that are demonstrably, absolutely, fundamentally false, in fact, and make yourself look like an absolute fucking airhead? Again, questions. This will be hilarious. Let's go.
And again, it's not a bad thing. You just want to be insulin sensitive. You want the right amount of insulin at the right time, under the right stimulus for insulin, period. Glucose tolerance.
Your sensitivity to insulin is managed by another process, largely, that being the thing that's parsimoniously referred to as the Randall cycle. That's entirely appropriate. When your body wants your sensitivity to insulin to be low, that is what happens, as is appropriate. Still.
Tolerance. The Randall cycle creates glucose intolerance.
No, it doesn't. That is a value judgment statement. And it's based on the assumption that you should be able to metabolize any amount of glucose at any time, and that this shouldn't be blocked, that your body is somehow so fucking stupid as it doesn't know how to survive. You ridiculous, arrogant turd. Fuck's sake.
Right?
No, wrong.
It impairs glucose tolerance.
No, it doesn't.
And that's what H.P. Hemsworth found in his work too, that insulin sensitivity equaled excess carbohydrates. And why? It's
because they are not required still. Ergo, the solution is stop fucking pouring them down your stupid, ignorant, arrogant fucking neck. Still. I hope this is going up some flagpoles.
When you have enough sugar,
which is still none in your diet, and it's still an amount set in your blood by your homeostatic mechanism at that time.
Your body can just relax, everything can be supported.
What does that even mean? Any of that? Nothing at all. Nonsense.
I was asked yesterday about hormones, like what nutrients create the hormones? It all starts with glucose.
No, it doesn't. Still.
And
absolute fucking nonsense again.
If you are supplying your body with sufficient amounts of exogenous glucose,
which is none at all, zero, not 1 single gram ever, still,
from your environment, you're eating the glucose, you're not making it endogenously, you're going to be supporting your hormone production.
Absolute fucking nonsense. Absolute rubbish. Again. False. Again.
Production at max levels, right?
Wrong. Not correct. False.
A lot of people have written to me that things level out. Testosterone levels go up, estrogen levels come down. Estrogen mainly because fat intake, but then estrogen levels can go up when you're eating more carbs, when, you're in a situation where you have low estrogen. So everything...
Waffle, obfuscation, nonsense, bullshit and jelly beans.
Balances out. Your thyroid runs on carbohydrates.
No, it doesn't. No.
In fact, after you eat a meal of carbs...
Oh, in fact. So if you say in fact before something that's false, does that make it not false? No, it doesn't. It's still false.
You are able to produce more thyroid hormones.
So, what is your point? Who's to say more thyroid hormones is good? Like anything, there's an ideal level. Too much is too much, and too little is too little.
So, when you're having to supply your hormone systems with endogenous glucose.
So the difference between endogenous glucose and exogenous glucose, Victoria, is what exactly? Could you show me the diagrams of these two molecules and tell me what the difference between these two molecules is? Good luck with that. Do we get the idea here, boys and girls, about how vacuous, lacking, destitute, arrogant, and stupid this ridiculous fucking cunt is? Are we getting it? I hope so.
So you're doing a carnivore diet and you are having to create that glucose yourself from your tissue, from...
No. From fat stored in your tissues. Fat that is there for that purpose.
The protein you're eating?
No, hardly at all until there's no fat left. Still.
From the fat you're eating, from your fat stores, because of the delay in conversion to glucose.
What delay is that exactly? And what the fuck has that got to do with the price of fish in China in 1965 or any fucking thing else?
Basically, you're running these extra steps. You're running the gluconeogenesis.
So, what is your point?
To supply the glucose for the TCA cycle.
No.
Your hormone production rate is just going to be slower.
Oh, because you think so, and because you say so. Yeah, but Victoria, you don't understand that red meat and white meat contain vitamin C. That glycation is the addition of glucose and fructose mostly to our tissues, where it shouldn't be. And that many carnivores do in fact lack sharp, pointy teeth. For examples. So why would anyone take anything you have to say seriously on any topic?
So depending on how your body can compensate for that is...
Compensate? What do we need to compensate? We don't need to compensate. The human body works perfectly. All you need to do is get out of your own stupid way and allow it to do so.
Is going to dictate how well your body is going to do hormonally speaking when...
It's hard going, isn't it, kids?
When you are not eating carbohydrate.
Rubbish. Absolute fucking nonsense.
Okay. Enough.
Yes, enough. Enough.
Question or enough of me talking here.
Yes, enough of you talking. You should stop doing that, Victoria.
I got a super chat coming in.
Jesus, seriously? Somebody gave you money voluntarily?
Ya Nyarko.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Dr. Nun Amen Ra's regimen.
Oh my God, are you fucking serious?
I have no idea who that is. So
oh, fuck. Oh, dear. Well, good. That was money well spent then, wasn't it?
You're going to have to tell me, and then I will answer that for you. But thank you for the super chat. Maybe I'll look him up right now.
Oh, fuck, are you serious?
I do have my computer going here. I actually wasn't going to film today because I'm really tired.
I wonder why. Partly, it's to do with the fact that you absolutely got fucking hammered yesterday in your debate-style discussion with yours truly. Secondly, the feedback you got publicly about your ridiculous nonsense should be draining to you if you had any fucking self-awareness at all. And mostly, I think, probably you're very tired today because of your fucking destitute diet, love. Ever think of that?
Trying to do as much as I do, and I haven't been sleeping a lot. I spent a lot of time preparing for my debate with Bart.
Did you? Wow. How did that go for you? You spent a lot of time preparing, did you?
Just like doing a bunch of research and...
A bunch of research? No. You might have reviewed some things. That's not doing research. You also do not have the capability, capacity, knowledge, experience, or wisdom to understand what it is you're reading, even patiently. We showed that yesterday too, remember?
Getting myself, all prepared up.
All prepared up she was for yesterday. oh, fuck. Oh, Victoria. Love. Seriously, love. All prepared she was for yesterday.
That I stayed up late 2 nights, 3 nights in a row.
Well, that was money and time well spent, wasn't it?
Okay. It looks like he's a weightlifter. Somebody tell me what this guy's MO is. Is he okay? He looks like he's got a PhD.
Oh, well, he must know everything then.
What is his diet that he promotes? I see him eating some plants, which is good.
No, it isn't, Victoria. Still.
It looks like he is a strength trainer. Yeah, it looks like he's eating plants, which is a start.
No, well, it's the start of serious failure, breakdown, dysfunction, and early death, because it's a diet that's inappropriate for human beings. Still.
Okay. He eats bread. So
seriously, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sit here and look up this guy who I'm aware of. Now, this is the tenure of the engagement that we're going to get from Victoria here.
is he high carb, low fat? He's definitely not carnivore, which is, that's like a cult right now, okay?
Really, is it? I suggest, Victoria, you go and look up projection. Go and look up projection. Okay?
Anybody who's doing that, you gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Says this particularly arrogant, particularly offensive, particularly stupid little girl. Go and check yourself, says this person.
Okay. So fill me in on this guy's diet. He looks natural for the most part too, I would.
Okay, so there's another sign that you have no idea what you're talking about at all.
would say.
Just another one.
But you never know. A lot of people are taking PEDs, and somebody told me that Bart K is taking PEDs too.
Wow. That's false. No, I'm not. And neither do I look like someone who could remotely be doing so, actually. I am normally muscled for a man in his 50s. In fact, probably slightly more, without being trained at all. I'm not trained. I do not take performance-enhancing drugs because I'm not doing any kind of physical performance to speak of. It's just ridiculous. What's next?
And then I saw he did a live with his wife, partner. I don't know who this person is.
That's right, you don't. And you don't know anything about her at all. And as such, you should keep your ignorant, arrogant, offensive fucking mouth shut about her. You have no business talking about her at all. You fucking cunt.
But she said that she was just got off a dry fast. Why are you dry fasting? Like,
ask her. Or watch the live stream that she was on where she explained why.
Why are you like eating all this fat and then dry fasting?
You have no idea what she's eating. You arrogant cunt. No idea at all.
Like, why not just... like, these people are crazy. And
do you see why it is that a lot of these kind of people get the sharp end of my tongue? It's usually me that gets pushback from people saying I shouldn't do that. Well, that's why it happens, right there. I too am a human being. We all have our limits. Shut the fuck up, you fucking cunt. What's next?
The outcome is not going to be good. Okay, Spike Fast Racing. Breaking news. Mark Bell just posted a 2-hour video today about fat making you fat and sugar and carbs and drop the fat out.
Mark Bell wouldn't know the difference between his anus and his asshole if I labelled both and taught him to read. He invited me on his program last year where he thought he was going to be teaching me a lesson and making me look silly because I had got involved with a back and forth online with Greg Douchebag Doucette, a bloke who Mark Bell believed to be remotely credible. How did that go for you, Mark? How did that go? Mark Bell is a fucking imbecile. What's next?
Is away. Yes, I saw his interview that he did with Cole Robinson, and I think Cole...
Another fucking imbecile. Without the first fucking clue of what he's talking about. Cole Robinson, for fuck's sake.
Cole really brought some light to Mark. And
no, he didn't. Cole Robinson is a fucking imbecile. You stupid bitch.
Mark realized that he was insulin resistant, and now he...
No. Still a construct. Still a false construct. Still conceived of falsely, spoken about falsely, thought about falsely, and reacted to falsely.
He is flipping the script. Everybody is! Yay!
Everybody is flipping the script, are they, Victoria? No, they're not. No.
You know, it's so good to see that the keto carnivore thing is going to get phased out because...
Oh, breaking news. You heard it first here, boys and girls. Apparently, the carnivore phase is going to get phased out. Oh my God, seriously? Really?
Even in my talk with Bart yesterday, he was trying to say that if...
I wasn't trying to say anything. I said a bunch of things, and I meant what I said.
somebody eating carbs has an elevated A1C, then that's a problem. But if
No, that's not what I said. I said a person who doesn't control their blood sugar level consistently is likely to have a problem with glycation, because the damage will be being done when their blood sugar is not controlled and it's gone high. That's what I said, in fact.
if you're eating carnivore and you have an elevated A1C, it's not a problem.
Yes, and I explained why that is. I explained it very, very clearly, even to someone as stupid as you, Victoria. But you go ahead and show that you didn't understand or chose to ignore what I said again, and I'll correct you again. Off you go.
If you have normal labs and you're high carb, low fat vegan, there's still a problem because those reference values aren't indicative of you being healthy.
No, that's not what I said at all. I said nothing remotely similar to that. You lying cunt. You pathetic, desperate lying cunt. No, I didn't say that.
But if it's a carnivore person, it's okay that you're out of range. And then the other guy...
No, I said the range is not appropriate because it does not reflect the same thing. It doesn't.
Said that he had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease diagnosed, right? When I was
Who said that?
asking about how did they find his cancer thing. And he said...
Dave. Okay.
That he was eating low fat. There's definitely something else going on there. And then...
Yes. All the sugar he was eating was causing the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease at that time. That's what was going on.
How is it that, okay, because he's eating low fat and he's out of reference range now with certain tests?
Not now, then, you silly cunt.
The tests for diagnosing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease are found within the complete metabolic panel, of which I showed recently that all of my scores came back within normal range.
Who's to say normal is optimal, you silly bitch? Normal is with reference to the population. Have a look at how the average person's health is and tell me you want to be normal. Go on.
But because he was out of range and he
was out of range, massively out of range in terms of his non-alcoholic fatty liver disease at the time he was consuming a high carbohydrate diet, Victoria, because concomitantly with eating a lot of fructose, which is what Dave was doing, you will get a propensity towards non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's a known metabolic consequence, which if you had the first fucking clue about metabolic process at all, you'd understand exactly how that works. It's clear you don't.
He was eating low fat. That's a problem. But if you're Bart K and you're carnivore, you can be out of range and it's not a problem.
I'm not out of range. So, ridiculous. Ridiculous, nonsensical garbage, and claiming that I've said something that I fucking didn't. Anyone that wants to know what I did say should watch the entire video back. It's still on my channel and it will remain there for some time. You can go and watch what I did in fact say, and it's nothing similar to what Victoria is claiming I said.
I think that is extremely dangerous.
No, Victoria, what's extremely dangerous is you putting yourself forward as remotely credible or remotely knowledgeable or remotely competent to advise anybody on any aspect of health or nutrition. That is what is dangerous here, unequivocally. You do not know what you're talking about. Fact. You insolent cunt. I'm done. Enough. I think we all get the point here, don't we? More than enough. We are done with Malnutrition by Victoria. Join me next time when someone will be wrong on the interwebs. Probably Victoria again, but we won't be bothering with her anymore. We're done. You're finished. Shut your fucking channel down. Shut your ignorant fucking pie hole, you fucking arrogant cunt. Fuck off. Right. The rest of you, see you next time. Ciao for now.